A lot of people want to talk about increasing libido.
Okay. So libido is a surprisingly complex issue. And I think a lot of us, are struggling with libido and we just want that like fast fix. So like,
give me the pill.
Yeah. What's the supplement that's going to work, or, the hormone replacement or whatever kind of stuff. And libido is so much more complex than that. And I really like to think of libido as an indicator of our overall well-being. Because our libido, I developed I called it the 5 foundations model of libido to talk about the 5 major categories of things that can affect it. And there are a lot of things like there's medical. So there's, medical conditions that you might have, medications that you're taking, even injuries or illnesses that you may have had. There's mental. So stuff that you were taught to believe about sex, getting distracted in the moment. There's emotional, which is kind of those deeper, past experiences that we've had, any sort of shame, embarrassment, guilt that comes up around sex. Relational, which I think a lot of people don't realize is what's going on between you and your partner is going to affect how much desire you have for them. So a lot of people are like, why don't I want to have sex with my partner? I mean, I'm so pissed at my partner and he doesn't do anything to help around the house. And we are super disconnected. We haven't spent any time together, but why did I not
so weird? It's a mystery.
And then the last one is sensual, which is another thing that I think people don't understand so much, is that there's really there's an enjoyment desire connection. So if the sex that you are having is not pleasurable, you are not going to crave it. And so we so often get people saying, I have no desire for sex. We'll ask them, hey, tell us what sex looks like for you. What does it feel like? And it's like, oh, it's super boring. We do the same thing every time. It really seems like it's much more about my partner than for me. It's over really fast. So we're like, okay, so why would you crave that experience? Like that actually doesn't make any sense. But I think we're so quick to judge ourselves. We're like, something's wrong with me. I'm broken. I never want sex. Maybe I'm asexual. Like there's so many judgments that we come up around ourselves. And not to say that there's anything wrong with being asexual, because there's not. It's just a kind of an illustration of how judgmental we can get of ourselves. But really needing to recognize like all of those things are affecting your libido. And so can you take a step back and, treat yourself with gentleness and compassion and think about like, what is it that might be going on in my life right now that's making it difficult for me to tap into that side of myself?
Yeah. And I mean, I can speak from my own experience around that time period that Vanessa was describing earlier, where we started playing around with scheduling sex and playing around with it in not the best way initially. Like I was struggling with my libido, and I very much did think about like, oh, is there a quick fix? Like, do I need to get, I was really close to like going to the doctor to get like my hormones tested. So I was like, well, there just must be something wrong with me. Now, looking back, the reality was I was super stressed at work. I was like commuting, spending like 3 hours a day on the freeway. I was working really hard. I was barely ever home. So like stress was super high. There was sort of this built up tension between Vanessa and me around like the lack of sex that we were having. So that was sort of like a negative feedback loop. I was not very healthy. I wasn't working out. I wasn't eating particularly healthy. And so like of looking back, it's like, yeah, of course I wasn't wanting sex very much. And I think, unfortunately for most people, like there's not going to be a super quick fix, but it is an opportunity for you to ask the tough questions of like, what else is going on in my life? And like, how can I make changes in my life to, increase my overall well-being, which is, by the way, going to increase your libido.